I've been eating a lot of gnocchi lately, which in the past is something that I would make from scratch myself. But in the past few weeks, I've really found myself reaching for shelf-stable packaged gnocchi. I found that a package of gnocchi is a really easy way to get dinner started, so that's what we're gonna be doing today. Hi, my name's Val, and I made the recipe website Very Vegan Val. Welcome or welcome back to my YouTube channel. Now, just as a little note, a lot of the time when gnocchi is made from scratch, it will involve eggs, so you do want to watch out for that. I've never seen a packaged gnocchi with eggs, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't exist, so make sure you check your ingredients as well. Today we're going to be making 3 dinners, all starting with a package of shelf-stable gnocchi. They'll all be relatively easy to make, so perfect for weekends or nights when you're just feeling a little bit worn out. As is typically the case on my YouTube channel, these are not recipes that I've tried out frequently or developed, with the exception of one of them today, actually. These are more just cooking with me so you can get some ideas, get some inspiration flowing, and I will record what I do and share it with you in the description of the video below. This first recipe we're gonna do is actually on my website, and it's a simple sheetpan gnocchi with edamame. This isn't like a very saucy recipe, it's very crispy, and you get crispy gnocchi, crispy edamame, and it's all made on one sheet pan in the oven. Put it all in, that's just about it. So let's get that one started. We're gonna start by adding an entire 1 pound package of gnocchi. Now we're going to use 8 ounces of edamame. It needs to be shelled edamame, but it could be fresh or frozen like I'm using here. My recipe has you use half a jalapeno, but I'm feeling a bit spicier, so I'm gonna go for 1.5. So I'm just gonna be dicing the entire jalapeno, but if you are spice averse, you could take out the seeds and the white pith, and it will give you jalapeno flavor with less of the spice. 2 cloves of garlic, minced. 1 lemon, cut into quarters. This is a much bigger lemon than I had originally used, but what's wrong with more lemon? Now for our spices. Sage, oregano, and thyme. Mix it around, and now we're going to drizzle with some olive oil or a different neutral oil of your choice. And then add some salt and pepper. We're gonna bake in the oven at 450 for around 30 minutes, taking it out once somewhere in the middle to stir everything around. Let's get this baked. Our gnocchi are out of the oven. We're gonna add a good amount of finely chopped parsley, nutritional yeast, and 1 to 2 tablespoons of sesame oil. Now let's just toss that together. We're also gonna take these lemon bits and squeeze out all the juice and then discard the rest. In my original recipe, I added more lemon at this point, but I think I'm not going to today just because this lemon was a lot larger than the one I'd originally used. Next up, we're going to use gnocchi in a simple curry soup. I'm going to use carrots and broccoli as the main vegetables in this recipe, but feel free to switch it up for whatever you have around or whatever you like. You're going to need some curry paste. Now make sure you check the ingredients carefully because a lot of the time they're not vegan. Things like anchovies and shellfish are very common. I'm using this one. And I'm using the yellow curry paste, which is important. I noticed that the green and the red in this particular brand were not vegan, but the yellow is, so we're gonna use that. And we're gonna add the curry paste straight into the oil. About 1/4 cup. And just toast it around a little bit. To that toasty curry paste, I'm gonna add about a teaspoon of ginger and 1 diced onion, as well as our garlic roughly chopped. We're gonna add our 2 carrots and mix them around so they're really coated in the curry paste. Next, the broccoli, cut into small florets. And I always use the stems too. I just cut them into pieces about like this, and they're delicious. I'm using a whole pound of broccoli here. Now we're gonna add about 1 quart of vegetable broth and bring it to a simmer. We've come to a simmer and the broccoli is most of the way cooked, so I'm gonna add the gnocchi now. And then we're also gonna add a can of coconut milk. This is full fat coconut milk. Now we'll just let it simmer until the broccoli and the gnocchi are tender. After that, we're gonna season with salt and pepper to taste. Here's our beautiful soup. I'd love to finish it off with a little bit of lime juice, but I do not have any at the moment. So I'm gonna add a little bit of black lime powder. This is a fermented lime. You're gonna get the zestiness, but you're also gonna get a little bit of those sun-dried funky notes. Of course, lime juice would go just as well, if not better. For our final recipe, I'm going to make a very simple bean and gnocchi skillet with some greens and tomatoes. Now you could use whatever beans you like. The beans I have around are chickpeas, so that's what I'm going to be using today. As you may have noticed, you don't actually need to boil packaged gnocchi. Just make sure you're cooking them all the way through in some method, be it the oven, a skillet, or an air fryer. Okay, let's get this last one started. We've heated a bit of oil in a skillet and we're gonna add 2 to 3 cloves of chopped garlic and about half a large onion diced. And we'll just saute that around until the onions become a bit translucent. Let's add our can of beans, drained, our package of gnocchi, and we're just gonna cook those together until the gnocchi become a little bit crispy. While they're sauteing around, actually, let's add some spices. About a teaspoon of oregano, half a teaspoon of tarragon, and a teaspoon or so of dried basil. Maybe a teaspoon and a half. So we're gonna add a can of diced tomatoes, juice and all. And then right on top of that, we're gonna add the greens of your choice. If you are using a heartier green like I am, something like kale, collard greens, in my case I'm using turnip greens, add them now. If you are doing spinach or something very delicate, wait till the last minute to add them in. And I'm just adding an entire bunch of greens, nicely chopped. I'll kind of let them steam on top here for a little bit, and then after a while I'll just mix it into the rest of the dish. I think I do this to control the cooking speed of the greens, but I don't actually know that it does anything. Maybe it's just something weird I do. We're gonna have to season with some salt and pepper to taste. And you just need to cook this for a couple minutes really until the greens are nicely wilted and everything tastes cooked through. I'm gonna finish this dish off with a little bit of finely chopped parsley and a small handful of pine nuts, just for a little added flavor and texture. If you don't want to use pine nuts, it's perfectly fine, don't use them. First up, crispy gnocchi with edamame and extra jalapeno. There's a lot of crunch on that. They're soft in the middle, but really crispy on the outside. And they're just coated in lemon, jalapeno, parsley, nutritional yeast flavor. Depending on where they were on the pan, some of the edamame got extra crispy and they have the most delightful like crunch to them. This is a really delicious dinner. Honestly, we've had it like 3 or 4 times now in the past couple weeks, and there's a reason. It's really super easy, delicious. Definitely one of those dinners that it feels like you get more out of it than you put in, you know? Next, we have our curry gnocchi noodle soup. The carrots have just a little bit of crunch left in them. The broth is very flavorful. You can really taste the lemongrass. I imagine it would be different with different curry pastes, but with this one, the lemongrass flavor is really coming through. You get the richness from the coconut, and you actually get a lot of broccoli flavor in the broth itself, which I am enjoying. Broccoli is perfect. And then, of course, for the gnocchi, soft, pillowy, perfect little dumplings in this beautiful broth. Flavorful, it's aromatic. I would say with this one, you also definitely get a lot more out than you put in. Finally, our tomatoey greens and beans gnocchi. The gnocchi are tender with just a little bit of crisp on the outside. The tomato, even though we didn't really do much to it, adds a sauciness to the entire dish. Greens are tender. It has a really nice homey flavor. And then if you do put in pine nuts, they do sort of elevate it. If you wanted a cheaper alternative to pine nuts, I suggest sunflower seeds. It won't add the same flavor profile, but it will do the same thing in terms of giving you that bit of crunch. This dish is very homey and comforting feeling. Again, like all of them, easy to make and delicious. How about a little bit of turnip green? Yum, yum. Thanks for watching. Let us know in the comments which of these packaged gnocchi dishes sounds best to you. Or what's your favorite thing to do with packaged gnocchi? Until next time, like this video and subscribe. Some food for thought. You don't become a billionaire by caring about other people. And you can't stay a billionaire and care about other people either.